Hi everyone, welcome to another conversation about our series where we are talking about um, inner peace and security. How do we gain that? What are some of the steps, some of the practices that we can establish in our lives, in our daily routine to help us feel a sense of inner peace and security in our journey as often as possible, right? So in this conversation, our focus is going to be focus. Yeah, it's like, hey, what do we want to focus on? Focus. What do we want to focus on? Focus. So let's focus. Let's talk about what focusing means. So remember that it's important to always ask, what does X, Y, and Z mean? What does it mean to be focused? What does it mean to be present? What does it mean to be consistent? Because those are some of the things or words that I associate with being focused: being consistent, being present, being persistent, and having my eye on the goal. So what does that mean for you? Being focused. You could think of it as an animal stalking their prey, being very focused on attaining their goal to feed themselves, to find a place where they are focused and feel protected away from the environment. So what is your focus? What is it that you're trying to reach? What is it that you're trying to achieve? What is in front of you right now? And what is it that you're doing to get to the things that are not currently in front of you, but that you are wanting to get to or establish in your life? So this is what this discussion is going to be about. So one of the things that helps us to focus is, it's going to sound counterproductive or counterintuitive, but it's about going with the flow, right? Because sometimes we're really focused and we put in a lot of work into something and we are doing all the right steps, right? But we're not seeing the end result, or we're not being able to see tangible results of our efforts, regarding our efforts. So this is why it's important to know when to go with the flow, to stop fighting against the current, and to kind of like chill and see where the pages are going. And going with the flow is an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to discover a new way of doing something, or even adapting your perspective to a new, I keep using the word new, but to a different idea or different concepts, different feelings, different emotions about what you're doing, where your focus is lying. Like if you are, example, focused on something, right? And you see that things are not moving, what is happening in your environment? What is happening with regards to how things are flowing that can give you an indication as to why things may not be moving in the pace that you want, or that you're not reaching the space that you want right here and right now? And that's why flow comes into perspective, because it's like you need to slow down. You need to figure out how to listen, how to pay attention to what's going on around you, what's going on inside you. And by doing that, you establish a flow for yourself where you can self-check yourself and say, oh, I've been really focused on something, but it's not working and I'm overdoing it. So maybe it's time for me to stop. Or I've been really focused on something and my flow is on point, so let me keep moving, let me keep going forward and see where I can go, what step I can take next. So that's why it's important to know your flow, to know your pace, to know what your focus is and the rhythm that it's going with what it is that you're trying to establish in your life. Because you want to be in a rhythm that works for you, because sometimes another thing that happens when we're trying to accomplish things, we are focused on other people's rhythm. Oh, like this person's doing better than me. This person's doing it faster than me. This person's getting more recognition than I am, or this person is more established than me. But, you know, what's your flow? Where is it that you are right now? And are you okay with your flow? Are you okay being focused on your flow and not focused on everybody else's flow? And what can you learn from somebody else's flow? It doesn't always have to be like competition in the sense that you're comparing yourself to someone else's flow. You can be at the perspective, right? Like, oh man, this person's doing this. They're on a different flow than I am, right? Let me check to see what they're doing that I'm doing differently. And you could even say, what are they doing right that I'm not doing right? But then you put yourself in some like comparative, like where you're comparing yourself to another person. And if you are not at that space, you could be doing yourself a disservice. So it's more like approaching the situation like, hey, what is this person doing that's getting them the level of success that I would like to be at? And then maybe you adapt that into your flow if it's possible, if it's something that you're willing to do, because everything is a trade-off. Like if you're super focused on attaining a certain thing for yourself, there are other things that may get less of your attention. Maybe your relationships get less of your attention. Maybe you do less self reflection, and then you kind of like put your own health on the back burner because you're so focused on trying to attain a goal. So it's about getting into a flow, understanding your flow, and finding a balance that works for you. Because once you start to find that balance that works for you, you start to see that the flow you're on is a blessing. The people whose flows are different from yours is a blessing, because it's an opportunity for you to learn, it's an opportunity for you to adjust, and you start to see that even though you may not be exactly where other people that you're connecting with regards to their success, you are successful because you are moving forward. You are doing something that's going to bring you into a space where you start to realize that your flow is yours. Your flow is yours to adapt, yours to change, yours to see where you need it tweaked, yours to see where you have had successes and triumphs, and where you are able to kind of connect with that energy and say, hey, you know what? I may not be where that other person is. I may not be, you know, on a level of focus that that person is investing, but I am focused in my own flow. I know that my flow is going to work, or if it's not working, I know that I'm capable of making those adjustments for myself. And it's not about constantly comparing yourself to other people. And like I mentioned before, if you're not in that space where you can have those comparisons and not feel bad about yourself and not put yourself in an energy where you feel inferior or inadequate to someone else, then by all means, see how your flow matches up with other people. See how your flow matches up with someone who you admire and you want to follow in their footsteps. So that's why it's important to understand what focus means to you, understand what being in a specific flow means to you, allowing time for things to cool down, allowing times for ups and down adjustments. You know, it's like a wave, a sine wave, up and down, up and down. And the down parts doesn't mean that you failed. The down parts means that you need to slow down and focus on something else. Maybe you need to slow down and focus on yourself and have that inner conversation with yourself. Maybe you need to slow down and focus on your relationships for a bit and adjust your flow accordingly, so you can see how much blessings you have. You can see how much you have to be grateful for. And those things allow you to have moments of gratitude that you probably would not take, or you probably would not feel like was necessary. But if you adjust your focus and figure out where your flow is, you're able to pin down your successes versus your failures. And there is no such thing as a failure if you have the right perspective and if you have the right flow, right? Because depending on your mindset, and the flow could be your mindset too, not just the pace you're going or the rhythm you're going, but it's like how you're processing information, how you're thinking. That flow, if it's open to adjustments, can be like, you know what, I didn't reach what I wanted to, but I learned something here. I learned something that I can utilize in my toolbox, or I learned something that I can apply to my new focus, to the way that I adjust what I'm focusing on and what I'm doing, and that then adjusts my flow and my rhythm to keep me going forward, to keep me in consistency with the potential energy that I have to create something really wonderful, to create something that is valuable to myself, to my fellow human being, to society, where I'm not a burden on society, right? Where I am contributing to society, but at the same time, I am capable of having a really beautiful experience. Because sometimes I feel like, or it comes across like you have to do something, and if you're not doing what you love, then you have to be miserable, or you have to be disappointed in life. And I think, like I said before, it's about trade-offs, right? Like, let's say your dream is to be an artist. Right now we live in a world where artists, doesn't matter, or what kind of artist you are, but artists are not appreciated in the same way that maybe a doctor is, or maybe even a lawyer, or all these other things that really give great lifestyles and material wealth, right? But do I just, say I'm going to be an artist and have someone else take care of me while I reach my dreams? It's okay, like, if you meet someone who's like, you know what, I'm going to take care of you, live out your dreams. We all want that. Like, shoot, if somebody came up to me and said, I'll take care of all the finances, live your dreams, like, for sure, I would be in a studio painting all the time and figuring out how my work relates to me, how my work relates to my environment. Who knows what kind of art I would be distributing, right? Because art is a combination of your experiences, and you usually translate that into some kind of art. So it would be different. But the other thing to that is, I want to be an artist, so the trade-off is I might have to be an artist part-time and work full-time at doing something else. So like, my parents don't have to take care of me, or society doesn't have to take care of me, or at some point maybe artists get paid very well to put their work out, to show their experiences to the world. But right now this is not the reality that we live in. So we talk about rules, right? There are established rules in this environment that we are in, and no one says you have to follow them. But when you don't follow them and you decide to take your own path, there are trade-offs to that, and you have to be willing to adapt that into your life and see it as a blessing, see it as a potential for you to be successful, and consistently focus on that versus you giving up. And I'll use myself as an example, right? Because I'm an artist at heart. I love to paint, and I want to paint when I want to paint. I don't want anybody to tell me I gotta paint, I gotta get up every morning, have a routine. That's one thing I don't like. Like, I don't like being put in a box, but I put myself in a routine for work. Like, I get up at X amount of time, I go to work, I get paid, and I come back and I do that. And so the trade-off is, for me to be an artist, I have to work full time for me to be able to do some kind of art. And I'm unable to be an artist full time and work part time. That's something that not everybody has the ability to do. But the point I am making when we're talking about finding our inner peace and security, there are trade-offs that we make to find these things. And those trade-offs are dependent on what we're focused on, what it is that we're trying to achieve. Some people want to achieve a level of success materially. A lot of people do. And let's just admit it. That's why we define things. And don't be afraid to admit it. Don't be afraid to say, yeah, I want to live comfortably. Yeah, I want to have a nice house, or I want to, whatever you believe is nice. Don't be afraid to say those things, because that'll help you come to a space of honesty about what you want and align you with the actions that's necessary, or that's going to be necessary for you to come into that space. But if you lie to yourself and say, yeah, I don't mind, I don't need this, I don't need that, I just want to be an artist and blah, blah, blah. And some people, that's true. And others, it's not. So it's about being honest with yourself and understanding, again, what inner peace means to you and how that is intertwined with your security. And what trade-offs are you willing to make to have the life that you want? In this session, what is your focus? The trade-off is, the idea of a trade-off, or the concept of trading off, is asking you, what's your focus? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? What is it that you're wanting to do? And how do you adjust your flow to reach that success, to get into that space of blessings, to get into that space where you recognize, you know what? I have a lot of good things going for me, and I have some bad things going for me, but let me focus on the good things going for me. Let me adjust my flow to focus on those things that I can control about myself. Like, I can control that I'm willing to learn and grow. I can control the fact that I'm willing to go to work and not have other people be responsible for me, and because I'm an adult. You know what I'm saying? What is that trade-off? Do you want to be a kid all of your life? Do you want somebody else taking care of you? And if you decide that, when people start to tell you how to live, are you okay with that? Are you okay giving up your responsibility for yourself to someone else? You have to ask yourself those questions, and you have to be honest with yourself, because that's how you're setting yourself up for success. Breaking things down, being honest with yourself, understanding your focus, understanding your flow and your potential to create something is intertwined with all of that. What's your focus? What is your flow? Your flow can be your mindset. Your flow can be the pace at which you work in order to achieve your goals. What are the things that have happened in your life that are positive, that are blessings, that are things that have taught you about yourself, your environment, your potential to continue to grow? And what are your successes? Blessings and successes can be intertwined together. Like, I've been blessed that, when I'm in hard times, I always have somebody that helps me. Like, I wouldn't even, it always just like, whoa, wow, I didn't even know I had this person watching my back. That's why I like earth angels a lot, and I connect with that, because there are a lot of people, physical people, and I'm not just talking about like spiritual beings, definitely ancestral energies, having your back. I'm talking about the people here on earth who do things to support each other, who do things to support your dreams, my dreams. And I've been lucky enough that the moments where I felt like my life was upside down, that I had an earth angel come to me and help me. But there was a trade-off to that too. There was me having to give up my power and taking somebody else's advice and having somebody else responsible for my decision-making process because they were helping me. I had to give some things up for myself, but that allowed me to attain a level of success, no matter how small it is. There was an ability to see success in that situation or in those situations where I got to live in a place where I want to live. I got to be able to go to school and pay for my schooling, or be able to go to school and work full time, even though it was probably not the best thing, but I saw that as a success, because there are some people who can't even do that. Like, they don't have the constitution to do both things. And to me, that was it was a small level of success, but I've been built that way where I can manage multiple things, where my focus can be sharp, but at the same time I can have peripheral vision. And it's not always good to always have peripheral vision. Sometimes you do need to focus, but that's where the flow comes in, where you make the adjustments as necessary to definitely dive into your potential. And by releasing things that are not serving you out of your rearview mirror, like let's say you're focused on your career and you happen to be in a relationship that's not serving you, that's diminishing your potential to grow in your career, right? Or let's say your career is your focus, but you really want, like making your relationship work is your focus, but your career isn't. Your career has been your focus your whole life. So you're gonna have a trade-off. Like, am I gonna devote X, Y, and Z time to my career, or am I going to trade some of my focus that I've been putting on my career to developing relationships? And what about myself do I need to change? What about myself do I need to see as a potential for growth, to connect with somebody else? And it doesn't have to be relationships or career, but those are the things that are coming up, because those are some of the things that people focus on and thus have hurdles that they have to overcome, because most of us, want financial security, we want material security, and that's in relationship to our careers and the relationships that we have with our jobs, with love and platonic relationships. So all those things kind of like fit into each other. And that's why in the services that I offer, I talk about self-development, because I think that's really important to have successful relationships, whether that is in career or personal or romantic relationships. And then we talk about those relationships. What are your expectations in a relationship? And then we get into career relationships, because your career relationships mirror the relationship that you have with money, and success and your potential to grow. And those are some things that we have to heal as individuals. And I speak for myself that I've had to heal when it comes to money, when it comes to material things, where we associate money to negative things, but it's people's drives and focus on money that create flows that can take blessings and turn them into pitfalls, and take successes and turn them into nightmares. And so it is important that we understand our potential to turn things that are seemingly just things into negativity, negative energy, and to bring them into an energetic vibration that is not focused on partnership, love, and success, and your ability to contribute to that, and so on. So let's bring all of this back to focus so we understand what this session was about, or this conversation was about. So in this series of inner peace and security, our conversation today is about focus. What are you focused on? What is the flow that you're in or on right now? How does it need to be adjusted in order for you to acknowledge the blessings in your life, the successes that you've had? Even the failures can be successes because they allow you to learn and grow and develop in a way that opens up the potential for you to continue to grow, to continue to find spaces where inner peace and security are something that you can manage on a regular basis by knowing how to change your focus and so on. All right, I hope this message was helpful to you. I hope this talk on focus, inner peace, and security was helpful to you, because it is important that we understand how some of these things play out in our life and how they can help us, once we understand, to change our gears, change our flow, change our focus, our perspective, our ideas, our definitions about things, while still understanding that we live in a physical environment. We live on this planet where there are established rules, and how do we manage those rules while still living our lives and doing the best that we can to follow our hearts and be contributing members of society. So again, I hope this was helpful. If you are interested, at the end of this message, I will be posting pictures of the jewelry that I'm wearing close up so you can see the rings and everything, and check out my website and see if any of this is something that you'd be interested in investing in, because I do believe that the stones, the copper, and all that really help with balancing the energies, especially if you can't be out in nature all the time. This is like having a bit of nature close to you, and you establish a relationship, a vibration where, let me tell you, when I don't wear my jewelry, I notice the difference. And I won't get into it, but it is something that I truly believe does help in us managing our energy. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell, because that's how you let the YouTube algorithm know that what I have to say has validity and is helpful. And that is one of the cheapest and easiest ways you can help me build my dream. Seriously, guys, it's so simple, and I really, really would appreciate it if you guys would just hit that bell, subscribe, and share the content so the algorithm knows that this is relevant. And if you want to take it a step further, make a connection with me, let's get together and we can schedule a session together, or you can purchase some of my jewelry on my website. Those are some of the other ways you can contribute and help me build my dream the same way I want to help you build your dream. I will talk to you again, sending you so much love. Take care. Bye.